Hello, in this Pointless POS video, we cover price changes and how your staff can communicate with each other to make price changes easier. This also includes voids and refunds. Our messaging system allows staff to communicate with each other without having to be physically present. If a server, bartender, cashier needs to get a manager to make a void or refund, quite often you might see something where they want to do a price change or they need to do a void, and the manager can enter their PIN code and then perform the void or the price change. Now, if that person's not right in front of the counter, the person who is the cashier can request a price change. Now we've pulled up a browser that has a different user logged in, a manager, and they have their own transaction started. They're performing functions like a cashier would, but they're also performing functions like a manager. So in the upper right, we see that message that was sent is already posted. Let's see how they can change their transaction and the requested transaction. So let's think that maybe this manager is also a cashier and they're at their terminal. They've received this message, they're doing their transaction, they can continue to add on items onto their transaction. They can then go to the message, they see the price change request, they see what it's requesting. They can ask maybe the cashier or servers nearby, maybe they could go over to them, but they've received this notification so they know that they need to help them out. They can then switch to the transaction. They can change the price themselves. Maybe it's $8. They make that price adjustment, then they can go back to their transaction and complete it. We're back at the first terminal with the first user that's logged in, and we see the price hasn't changed, but let's consider the scenario. Perhaps they requested the change, they left, they came back to the transaction, maybe they've done other transactions in the meantime. The software doesn't constantly pull or refresh the view, so we do have a little refresh button and they can press that if they have just stayed in the transaction and they've made no changes waiting for the price to update. Back over here, the user can just press refresh. It'll refresh the order and they can close out that transaction. So this also applies to voids. If we wanted to do a void, we could do a void request. And then back over on this terminal, we have the void request. So we'll get rid of that archive and then we will go back to the transaction. Then we will, in this case, remove it. Now that was not a void that was required by the manager to complete. That was a simple void. That was just a removal of an item. If your item has been printed to the kitchen, we have a stricter requirement that requires a PIN code. So items that are printed labels for or sent to the kitchen must be voided by a manager because that item might have been prepared, served, and there needs to be a reason provided on why you're not actually, the customer is actually not paying for that. In a case like this, a void request would be sent, and if we don't see it, we have this refresh button here. So here we'll do that void request, and then we will go to remove this item. We'll be prompted on why we're voiding this, and then that item will be voided. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, email support@pointlesspos.com. Give us a call at 866-973-8099 or leave a comment below.